Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. We're going to be taking a look at a truly brilliant bit of DIY problem solving, and we're pulling this directly from the personal journal of a super dedicated fish keeper named Ang. Look, if you've ever found yourself totally frustrated by a failing piece of equipment or, just a persistent flaw in your setup that drives you crazy, you are absolutely going to love the mindset shift we're exploring today. We're going to see exactly how a super annoying hardware failure was completely reimagined into a highly efficient automated feature. It's like turning a bug into a feature, literally. To set the stage for you here, the source text we're analyzing is actually entry number 282 of Ang's Notes on Fishkeeping, which was published in July of 2026. Now just think about that number for a second, 282. That tells us right away we're way past the basics of standard fish care. By the time someone is on part 282 of their journaling, they are deep in the weeds. They aren't just buying those off-the-shelf starter kits anymore. They're experimenting, they're intensely observing, and occasionally they're wandering right into the realm of accidental DIY genius. And that is exactly where our source material picks up today.
Section 1. The leaking pond problem, a persistent flaw.
So our whole story centers around this specific vessel right here, an EPS-foam box. Ang was actually creatively utilizing this expanded polystyrene container as an outdoor fish pond. And honestly, it's a really clever repurposing of materials. But, well, it came with a distinct flaw. According to the journal, this particular foam box developed a leak right at the very bottom. Now, it wasn't a catastrophic failure where all the water just rushed out at once and ruined everything. Actually, scratch that. It was almost worse because it was a small, slow, and incredibly persistent leak. Just drip, drip, drip. And this brilliantly illustrates the totally maddening cycle that Ang was trapped in. On day 1, that small leak at the bottom begins. By day 2, the water level gradually, inevitably drips down. By day 3, the water gets noticeably low, which forces Ang to actually intervene manually. You know the drill. It required routinely hauling out fresh water to top up the pond, just to restore the whole system back to its original state. It's the exact definition of a tedious, repetitive chore born completely out of a system flaw.
Moving right along to Section 2, an accidental epiphany, reframing the problem.
Okay, so picture this. Ang is standing there, literally in the middle of performing this mundane chore of adding water for the 100th time, and just has this sudden realization. The journal reads, and I quote, "It dawned on me that perhaps we can explore this and create an automated dripping system." I love this so much. Instead of looking at that dripping water as a failure of the container, Ang reframed the entire situation. What if that constant drip wasn't a bug that needed fixing, but rather the actual prototype for a completely new feature? Talk about a light bulb moment. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between the current state and the proposed state. On the left, we've got a purely reactive situation, right? A small leak dictating a constant drop in water levels, demanding annoying manual labor to fix. But look on the right. The proposed state is an active automated dripping system where the bottom water deliberately and automatically drips out. It's a total paradigm shift. Instead of fighting the leak, Ang just decided to harness it to completely eliminate the need for manual water changes altogether. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3, the bottom faucet solution, the mechanical fix.
The mechanical fix Ang explored here is just beautifully simple. The solution, literally just adding a controllable faucet directly at the bottom of the EPS-foam box. Think about that for a second. Ang is taking the exact location of the problematic leak, the very thing causing all the stress, and installing a valve right there. By introducing a faucet, Ang suddenly gains total control over what was previously a completely uncontrollable drip. It's so smart.
Let's move to and see how this builds a totally effortless new routine. Step 1, simply open the bottom faucet. That's it. Step 2, quickly drain the water. Because the faucet is at the very bottom of the box, gravity does all the heavy lifting for you. It instantly pulls out the water and, this is key, all that accumulated bottom waste without any hassle at all. And step 3, boom! You've completed an immediate water change. No siphoning, no heavy buckets, absolutely no mess.
So the crucial point here is super clear. First and foremost, no siphon is required ever again. And let me tell you, anyone familiar with aquatic setups knows that ditching the siphon is a massive, massive win. The process becomes immediate and practically effortless. It makes the overall management of the outdoor pond incredibly easy and quick. And crucially, because the drainage is happening from the absolute lowest point, it allows for the direct and efficient removal of bottom waste, which, as we know, is absolutely vital for the health of the entire ecosystem.
Angle completely eliminated the usual maintenance headaches just by leaning into a perceived flaw. And finally, Section 4, Future Backyard Applications, the Backyard Balcony Pond. Ang concludes this journal entry by looking ahead, and this is where it gets really exciting. This happy accident proved to be so valuable and so incredibly efficient that it's no longer just a quick fix for a broken foam box. Nope, Ang is already planning on scaling this idea way up. The bottom faucet drainage concept is now being explored as a foundational feature for an entirely new planned outdoor pond that's going to be located on a backyard balcony. What started as a temporary, frustrating workaround has officially become the actual blueprint for all future designs.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought directly inspired by Ang's journal. What leaks in your own routines could become your next great automated system? Seriously, think about it. We all have those recurring annoyances, right? The structural leaks in our workflows, our hobbies, or just our daily chores that force us into tedious manual labor. But as Ang so brilliantly showed us today, sometimes the things we are rushing to patch up are actually hidden opportunities. If we just stop, take a breath, and reframe the problem, that very flaw might just be the secret to our next brilliant automation.